PraDa Law Live. I'm Jackie Mendez. I'm your host this beautiful Monday. And before I introduce our partners here at PraDa Law, I want to go ahead and direct you guys to the screen. That number on the screen, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you need to call for your free consultation. Let's get right into introducing our partners here today at PraDa Law Live. First up, we have Alexis Garcia.
Thank you, Jackie. Hello, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here this lovely Monday.
Of course, Jennifer Pratt.
Happy Monday. Thank you, Jackie, and pleasure to be here this morning with everyone.
And Yoel Damas.
Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate it. Pleasure to be here with everyone.
So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have offices in Miami, in Doral, in Colombia. Please give us a call. We can help out. We can help you find solutions. That number on the screen is a toll-free number. So give us a call. Consultation will be free. 888-88-LEGAL. Let's jump right into the conversation. We'll be talking bankruptcy today.
Thank you, Jackie. And to start things off, I want to talk to everyone watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or any other platform. If you're watching this video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share it. Because even if you're not dealing with the problems that we're talking about necessarily today, there's going to be times where others might benefit from watching this program, and it's only going to take a simple share on your end for you to get someone possibly the help that may need. It's Monday, everyone. Jackie's back with us this week. Last week she was hungover and someone else had to take over for her.
Calls.
So this week we got Jackie back.
Welcome back. Happy to be back. Thank you.
Well, panel, we're back. We're Bankruptcy Day. It's Monday. It's when people deal with, not drinking anymore and not chilling anymore. And
back to reality.
Dealing with reality. I'd like to start the conversation off with the moratoriums. I mean, first of all, I don't want to put anybody in the spot because the moratorium keeps changing, especially in South Florida. And, now we're like in a convoluted place where they could evict you, but they can't evict you. They could file, but they can't file. If you're a mortgage owner, if it's a federal mortgage, they can't move forward, but they could. And I think people, I'd like to discuss some facts related to 2006 and the last financial crisis, but where are we at with the status of moratoriums, federal mortgages, and just people renting?
So you're right. It's really convoluted, and there's all these different aspects, whether it's at the state level, at the federal level. So we know that at the federal level / CDC, they're talking about December 31st of this year. And then at the state level, I think we're on October 1st, if I'm not mistaken. But again, that's a moving target as well. And, already in the office last week, Attorney Damas, we got a new foreclosure case that, right away I could tell that, first of all, it was filed right now recently during COVID. And right away you could see that even they're a little confused. I mean, in terms of they weren't sure, by some of the certifications that they filed along with the foreclosure, it was almost like they were overdoing it, but maybe underdoing it. And that's why it's important to hire an attorney so we can start exploring those foreclosures and make sure they're being done accurately to whatever law applies in your specific case.
Attorney Pratt, when you're saying you're talking about the bank and their attorneys.
It's a mortgage foreclosure. It's a large law firm. I'm sure Attorney Garcia has dealt with them. I've dealt with them in the past. In fact, I may have even dealt with them back in the 2010. I mean, they've been around. They're one of those established foreclosure plaintiffs councils.
Right. So if people think that foreclosure is not being filed, they're wrong.
No, wrong.
No, they're being filed. They're being filed. I mean, yes, Attorney Garcia.
There's defenses, there's things that can be brought up, but they're being filed, and people, I don't think, understand that.
Being filed, we're served, and the person hired us. Their deadline was like 2 or 3 days before the deadline to answer. So they watched the show, they heard us, they realized that because it's COVID, it doesn't mean that you don't have to answer. And they did the right thing. They came to an attorney to answer on time.
And that's why we always remind you, dial the number, 888-88-LEGAL. And if you're watching us on social media, especially this program, make sure you share it. Share it. It doesn't cost you anything. Just hit the share button, hit the like and subscribe button, hopefully too. But make sure you share it, because it just takes someone to hear this information one time, and that may be the difference between saving or not their home, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this person would have believed the hype and would have thought that because it's COVID they didn't have to answer, they would have been defaulted. And I'll tell you, I filed my motion, and I think early this morning, I think by Friday night or early this morning, they were already emailing me to set it for hearing. So what does that mean, Attorney Damas? Again, Attorney Garcia and I.
The fact that they're trying to set it for hearing, I'm shocked. Usually that could just linger for a little bit, huh?
Exactly, and we know because we worked that, in that old crisis where we would file a motion and let's keep it real here. It could be weeks, sometimes if you got lucky, months before the bank got around to it.
Right.
I filed the motion, and within 48 hours, they're ready to set my motion for hearing, which is fine. I'm ready for them too. Let's go. But it shows you how aggressive these banks are. They don't care that it's COVID. They don't care why that little old lady stopped paying her house.
And it's her homestead too, right? It's her homestead property, yeah.
I know you got something. You're cooking something over there too. We're not going to give them all the details to the rest.
Yeah, they might be watching.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going to say, don't tell them what Alexis Garcia's cooking up. But for now they're dealing with me.
Well, but the truth is that these firms, just like I've been saying for a long time that these banks are sending out emails recruiting, and the truth is that these firms are gearing up for a foreclosure battle and just volume, and that's probably why they responded so quick, because they don't have the volume yet, but they're staffing up. They're getting ready to go after it.
That's a great point. And look, I mean, at the end of the day, what I was most shocked with, like Attorney Garcia says, is that usually that could linger for like at least a few days. I mean, it was right away. They're ready to roll it out. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Once again, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number. It's super simple, so you can find your solution. So give us a call. Consultation will be free, ladies and gentlemen.
And very important, again, because we start off the topic with just lawsuit-related matters. If you are a renter and you get served, it's what, attorneys? 5 days.
5 days to file that response.
If you are a mortgage holder or an owner of a property, you have how many days? 20.
Okay, for a civil summons.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Summons, yeah.
I'm sorry.
20 days.
I was trying to keep it simple for our public. Civil summons. If you get served, if somebody knocks on your door, anywhere between 5 days and 20 days, we'll keep it really simple.
How important, you don't want to miss that deadline. Once you pass that 5-day deadline, it's not as easy to maneuver a response. Like after the 20-day one, you still have some time. After that 5-day one,
Again, keep it simple. Keep it simple for our people. They lose.
You lose.
By default.
File something day 3 or day 4. Always.
Well, very important, not just something.
With an attorney, properly with an attorney, properly with an attorney. Every case is different.
Well, production is telling me we have to take a short break, so we're going to be right back and continue the conversation. But I just want to remind everyone of that number again. It's 888-88-LEGAL. Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
I know you're home right now asking yourself, how? How will I pay my rent, my mortgage, my bills, my credit card debt? I'm attorney Alexis Garcia with PraDa Law. I've personally helped people with financial problems over the last 10 years. I understand what you are going through. We saw people lose it all in the 2008 financial crisis. You don't have to lose it all. The consultation is free. Call us now. I will help protect what you have built. You have nothing to lose by calling us. Call us now. These are trying times. This deadly virus is affecting our health, economy, jobs, our small business owners. Bankruptcy protection may be able to save assets and immediately stop your creditors from harassing you. Small business owners, employees of business of any size, we know you need help. Call us now. We will help you get back on your feet. Don't wait until it's too late. This is the time to call.
Sé que estás en la casa ahora mismo preguntándote, ¿cómo voy a pagar la hipoteca, la renta, los biles, las tarjetas de crédito? Soy la abogada Jennifer Pratt con PraDa Law. Yo personalmente he ayudado a las personas con problemas financieros durante los últimos 10 años. Yo entiendo por lo que estás pasando. Vimos cómo la gente lo perdió todo durante la crisis financiera del 2008. No tienes que perderlo todo. Llama ahora. La consulta es gratis. Te ayudaremos a proteger todo lo que has construido durante todos estos años. Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles. Este virus mortal está amenazando nuestra salud, nuestra economía, nuestros empleos y a los propietarios de nuestras pequeñas empresas. La consulta es gratis. Llame ahora. Te ayudaremos a recuperarte. No esperes hasta que sea demasiado tarde. Llame ya.
Welcome back to PraDa Law Live. Once again, I'm Jackie Mendez. It's Monday. That means we've been talking bankruptcy, okay? Once again, that number on the screen, that's the number that's gonna help you find those solutions. So give us a call. It's free. The consultation will be free. 888-88-LEGAL. So simple. Yoel, let's get back into that convo.
Thank you, Jackie. Yes, so before the break, we were about to start discussing the differences between 2006 meltdown, 2008, whichever way you want to look at it, or based on when you went through the meltdown, anytime between 2006 and 2014. And we were discussing the difference of that period versus today's period. And one of the things that, you know, it's during that situation, right? And we'll share on Wednesday some numbers as far as how many people are in forbearance. But I want to speak specifically to moratoriums on rentals. Because what happens is when someone doesn't pay their rent, then most likely the owner can't pay their mortgage. And I feel for the person that can't pay the rent. I'm just keeping it real. It's a domino effect. Absolutely. Right? And the truth is, again, and we went over first segment, and if you weren't watching, if you get served, even if you're a renter, we represent renters too. As long as there's no conflict, we'll gladly go in there and try to figure it out as best for you as possible. But for those renters that aren't paying, the truth is, once these moratoriums are lifted, what is the end game? What is the end game?
They're going to be evicted. There's no recourse for them because there's no way they're going to come up with all the rent. And when you're bringing forward an eviction, the statute's very specific, and there's not many defenses there. So at this point, when you're this far behind, what are you going to do? I just don't think it looks good. I think the end game is being with no home, is being out on the streets, is what I see.
We don't already have a huge homelessness problem in this country already, right. So that's really devastating to hear.
Yeah. And again, I want to hear your feedback, but so this is the way I see it, just from a common sense point of view, and again, this article that I read, if people stop paying their rent, which they have, and then the government protected them, which they had to, right? But now they get evicted, and there's a whole lot of people. I don't have the number in front of me right now, but it's in the millions that are not paying their rent right now. And I'm talking, there's 4.8 million forbearances, and it's something along those lines, people not paying their rent, right? Wow. So if that many people get evicted around the same time, if there's an eviction tidal wave, what that's going to do to the rent market is going to drop it. Because now I'm a landlord. I want to fill my space. I'd rather have some money than no money.
I know you're home right now asking yourself, how? How will I pay my rent, my mortgage, my bills, my credit card debt? I'm attorney Alexis Garcia with PraDa Law. I've personally helped people with financial problems over the last 10 years. I understand what you are going through. We saw people lose it all in the 2008 financial crisis. You don't have to lose it all. The consultation is free. Call us now. I will help protect what you have built. You have nothing to lose by calling us. Call us now. These are trying times. This deadly virus is affecting our health, economy, jobs, our small business owners. Bankruptcy protection may be able to save assets and immediately stop your creditors from harassing you. Small business owners, employees of business of any size, we know you need help. Call us now. We will help you get back on your feet. Don't wait until it's too late. This is the time to call.
Sé que estás en la casa ahora mismo preguntándote, ¿cómo voy a pagar la hipoteca, la renta, los biles, las tarjetas de crédito? Soy la abogada Jennifer Pratt con PraDa Law. Yo personalmente he ayudado a las personas con problemas financieros durante los últimos 10 años. Yo entiendo por lo que estás pasando. Vimos cómo la gente lo perdió todo durante la crisis financiera del 2008. No tienes que perderlo todo. Llama ahora. La consulta es gratis. Te ayudaremos a proteger todo lo que has construido durante todos estos años. Sabemos que estos son tiempos difíciles. Este virus mortal está amenazando nuestra salud, nuestra economía, nuestros empleos y a los propietarios de nuestras pequeñas empresas. La consulta es gratis. Llame ahora. Te ayudaremos a recuperarte. No esperes hasta que sea demasiado tarde. Llame ya.
And welcome back to PraDa Law Live. Once again, I'm Jackie Mendez. There's a number on your screen, 888-88-LEGAL. That's the number you got to call for your free consultation. We got those solutions for you. Yoel, let's kick off the conversation.
Thank you, Jackie. So right before the last break, if you were watching, you noticed some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
We will be firing our production staff after this program. So hopefully next week we'll have better staff. But thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. At the end of the show, we're going to go ahead and lay out their Instagrams and full names and numbers, since they'll be unemployed, just in case you guys are looking for producers.
Oh, you mean we'll be adding to that consistent million a month mark or a week mark of the unemployment? We'll be adding to that too? 3?
Well, so hold on.
5.
Hold on.
So if you're incompetent, does that qualify for that list or no?
It's just if you're unemployed, period. I don't know that.
I'm messing around with my producers, or our producers. They're great people.
Yes.
Yeah, they were homeless and we were able to give them a job.
We love them.
So we do love them. You better, for sure, their moms aren't going to watch this program.
All right. Not the Monday show, Mom. Don't watch that one.
All right, so back to what we were talking about, what the cause of basically all these tenants not being able to pay and being protected by the government, what is that causing towards the overall real estate market, whether it's commercial real estate or investment properties? And again, now we're speaking to that investor out there that their tenant is not paying them, or even if you're a small business owner and you can't pay your rent in a commercial space because you're being affected right now. And we also understand that you might be stuck on, for example, if you're a small business owner on a 5-year lease, and the truth is that the world has changed. You don't need that space anymore, right? So,
Well, that's an interesting point, because some of the larger stores, retail stores, especially when this happened, the way they decided, I spoke with someone who worked in one, and the way they decided what stores to close, it was where were leases ending, so they didn't have to sign new leases and get back into these huge leases again. Smart. So, where all these individuals are coming in with the, that they're stuck in these leases, they can't get out. So you need a bankruptcy, and I mean the big businesses are using this time to get out of bad deals because they can, and you have these smaller ones that they can't. So you're just going to start losing. You're going to have the small businesses going into bankruptcy. You're going to have the mortgage holders going into bankruptcy. It's just going to be a crumbling, I think, at this point.
Now you had and I'm not sure if production grabbed it or not, but you had a story specifically that I think production completely, did not get.
So in our practice in our office, there's a family case where we were going through discovery, and one of the questions in the interrogatories was regarding real estate that my client owns, and they own 2 properties. One is a homestead, the other one is an investment, and it asked if they're current on their mortgage, and they actually, I noticed that they're not current, and they're actually about $15,000 behind. Of course, that was a cause for concern, and I asked, what was going on, and then I noticed that in addition to being behind, the reason was because the tenant had to leave. They couldn't pay. They lost their job, and they couldn't pay. They were fortunate enough that their tenant, I guess, did the right thing and left instead of just living there for free. And now what they've done is they've converted that investment property into a Section 8, and they're taking in about $200 less a month. But when I asked the client, I said, why did you do this? He said, well, look, I'd rather take $1,000 than take nothing a month. And then these arrears are just going to keep adding and adding and adding.
Yeah, and what is that going to do for the market? I mean, ultimately, it's going to bring down the rental market, which some might argue it's about time.
Yeah.
It's about
Actually, in my building, I live in downtown Miami, and in the last 4 months, I mean, there's been less and less lights popping up in our balcony view, The buildings are just empty. My building specifically, I've seen many, many families moving out because they just simply can't pay their rent. But then also, the landlords have lowered the rent for new tenants coming in, but they haven't lowered my rent. So, I mean, and my lease is up until January, so.
If you are Jackie's landlord, you need to lower her rent. You heard it from me.
I actually contacted Attorney Garcia in the beginning of the pandemic just to see what my rights were, and because work was completely stopped, and but yeah, and she was able to guide me. But luckily, we were able to
And Attorney Damas, this is happening across the board in all these buildings in Brickell. You know, you got those fancy buildings like the Panorama. You know, I know someone that lives there, and they were telling me how almost on every floor there's at least 1 3-day notice on almost every floor. People that were, you know, making good money, paying exorbitant amount of rent, you know, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 for an amazing condo, they're having to get evicted now because they just can't pay that.
Well, I think, like we've talked about, it's an avalanche. But more, and again, I feel their pain, but what is this going to mean for the broader economy? Because the tenants are hurting, the landlords are hurting, the mortgage companies aren't going to get paid. It's a domino effect, and we're going to get into those specific numbers on Wednesday, but it's causing this avalanche that I believe is coming. That's going to be way worse than the last recession.
And that's what I think too. I think that's going to bring the property values down, and before they go down, there's going to be a rush to foreclose because the banks are going to want the properties back when it's high with the equity, and then once it crashes, then the market, it's just going to be really bad. I completely agree with the values are going to drop. Yeah.
Winter is coming, right? Winter's coming. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get caught in winter. Call us, 888-88-LEGAL. Consultation will be free.
Now, Attorney Pratt, you mentioned people are walking in with foreclosures. Banks are foreclosing.
Yeah, absolutely. People are getting served. There's 20 days to answer those foreclosures. And not only that, you know, the banks are not, they don't care that it's COVID. They're being just as aggressive, if not more aggressive than ever. And I think it has to do with what Attorney Garcia is talking about, that the homes right now, a lot of them still have equity. They rather take them now rather than, I think, in a year or two where we may see a complete catastrophe in terms of where prices are.
Well, I just think statistically, we are in for a really bad ride. And I think the only thing that saves it is the government. I really do. The only one that could stop this avalanche that's coming is the government. And I really don't have faith in the government. And I'll say it. I don't care who's in power. I wouldn't leave anything up to the government.
And that's really scary that our hope is something that we have no hope in, right? And so are you saying that the hope is in them injecting more money, or what is it? What is the solution here?
Again, so you have renters that haven't paid in 7 months. It might be 9 months by the time all these moratoriums and protection end. What do you do then? What is the fair solution? Do you give them a check to be able to relocate, and you leave the last person high and dry? That person might also have, you know, legal ways to get a judgment against you. What happens to that judgment? Well, you're going to wipe out the ability to get a judgment against these people, or you're just going to write one big fat check to all the landlords. And then, of course, on the other side, they're going to scream, well, you can't give that type of money to the landlords. So
why not give a bunch of money to the banks?
Is there...
I know it's not you. I'm just saying, yeah, I like that. That sounds like a... Yoel Damos for president, everybody. Give money to all the landlords.
I'm not interested in politics. The point is, I don't think there's a right answer.
There isn't. It's really hard.
That's what I was going to say. There's nothing really. First of all, our government's not set up for this. We've never seen anything like this. And whatever route the government takes to try to assist, there's always going to be a problem. There's always going to be someone left out. There's nothing they're going to be able to do. It's just, no matter who's in power, no matter what happens, it's just, no one is ever going to be able to solve it.
So like in 2008 and that crisis, at the end of the day, you know what solved it? Time. Yeah. We had to go through the pain. We had to bleed. If you were smart and you got an attorney, if you defended your rights, you ended up most likely better off than if you just gave it all up to the banks. But even the banks went through some pain. I mean, and we're not friends of banks here, but the point is, we had to go through the pain to get to a solution. I think we're in the same place. I think we're artificially being propped up right now, and I think at the end of the day, there's going to be pain and big pain, and the only way to resolve it is time, because if the government keeps stepping in, I think it only kicks the can down the road even further. That's my humble opinion.
Well, you heard it here. Get yourself an attorney. Protect your rights. That number on the screen will lead you to that. 888-88-LEGAL. Give us a call. The show is actually, it's over. But we definitely want to thank all our viewers for tuning in. Okay.
And we're here the rest of the week. So please tune in tomorrow.
Yep.
Please like, please share. Please make sure you subscribe if you're on YouTube. And I want to thank our panel. Let's have a great week. If you're out there with problems, if you need solutions, the call is free, the consultation is free, 888-88-LEGAL.